All right, welcome back to the Unnamed Movie Car Podcast, recording at you live from Talladega, Alabama, meaning we watched Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby from 2006, directed by Adam Mckay, starring, get ready for this, Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, Sacha Baron Cohen, Michael Clark Duncan, Jane Lynch, Amy Adams, and Andy Richter. Star-studded cast.
Yes, absolutely. I didn't know it was Alabama. I didn't know Talladega's in Alabama.
You know, I had to Google it maybe 15 minutes ago.
Did you really?
Talladega, I always thought was in Tennessee because I always mix it up with Tallahassee.
Oh.
But is Tallahassee even in Tennessee?
I didn't know.
Wait. Hold on. Let me get on the Google.
On the Google.
Yeah.
I didn't know Talladega.
Or Bing if you want to sponsor.
Yeah. I didn't know Talladega was
100% Tallahassee's in Florida.
Tallahassee's in Florida. Right.
So I get it mixed up with a city that's not even in the correct state.
Right.
So that's good.
All right.
But yeah, we watched Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Yes.
One of my favorite movies.
Me too.
And before we get away from the cast real quick, also, we do our thoughts and prayers are with Houston Tumlin's family.
Yes.
He played Walker Bobby, the older son in the film, and he took his life earlier this year. If you or a loved one is in need or in crisis, the suicide hotline is 1-800-273-8255, because, you know, a lot of younger people do struggle. He was, I believe, in his late 20s, early 30s.
Okay.
So the older son, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, we do mess around and joke around a lot, but that is a very serious subject, and that is something that definitely, I'm glad that you brought that up with the
and it actually happened so recently to the filming of this podcast, actually just
Yeah.
a little under a month ago.
Yeah.
So which we actually didn't even pick this movie according to that.
No.
But we just wanted to get that out there. So again, that's 1-800-273-8255, and you can also call if a loved one or if you're worried about someone else. You can also call that number as well. But getting back to the film,
yes,
one of the best, I would say, honestly, probably one of the best movies that we've done on this podcast so far.
I think so too. I really do. There's so much. Like every minute of this film is just
every single minute.
Jam-packed with hilarious stuff that just, and it's good. And actually, the race scenes are awesome.
Yeah, everything is shot really well, and
yeah,
it has such that early 2000s, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, that comedic touch where like a lot of it was improv, and they show that with the bloopers at the very end of the movie. A lot of it is improv, and it just goes to show how, like the high caliber of comedy these guys were literally just oozing out during the filming of this movie.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
Something that I wanted to note too was that Adam Mckay, the director, is like sort of almost, well, he's a huge writing partner with Will Ferrell. He's worked with Will Ferrell for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Did a bunch of other movies, Step Brothers as well, which is, we'll talk again later.
Yeah.
And is sort of the man behind a lot of your favorite comedy movies, Adam Mckay. Also, Funny or Die was part of.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you know? Did McKay also direct? What was that other movie that John C. Reilly was in?
Sherlock Holmes.
No.
Walk Hard.
Yeah, Walk Hard. Did he do that one? Because it really
don't know.
Kind of rings true of him. The reason why I say that is because sometimes in the John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell movies, and there's a couple of them, it's really pretty hilarious because they say exactly verbatim what, they give exposition exactly the way that it sounds. So, for instance, instead of showing two boys and they're saying, "Hey, you're my best friend," or, it's great that we're so close, they're like, "We are going to be best friends forever." And then that's exactly what it is. They are best friends forever. They did a lot of that in Walk Hard. It was so funny.
So I'm not seeing Walk Hard on here.
Okay.
However, for Adam Mckay directing, we have Anchorman.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, and the other guys, as well as Anchorman 2.
Yeah.
And then, interestingly enough, it sort of takes a turn here.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Short, which is
Really?
arguably not a comedy.
No.
I mean, it's about the market
No,
crisis in
pretty-
2008.
Pretty darn
and
much
then,
not.
What we mentioned, I believe, last episode, Vice, the Christian Bale, Dick Cheney movie. It's called Vice.
It's called Vice.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
where-
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
where
I didn't know that.
Christian Bale plays Dick Cheney.
Which is crazy
Insane.
bizarre to me. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
insane.
to. I'm gonna have to actually watch that just or see
Um,
clips of it just to see Christian Bale.
but yeah, what are your thoughts on Talladega Nights?
Extremely awesome. There's just no two ways about it. I just really, really love the movie. It's so funny. Every time I watch it, I see something different. I laugh, almost out loud every time. And,
Mhm.
it's really, really a fun movie that I very much enjoy. By the way,
Mhm.
did my own research.
Oh
here.
wow,
I
you
actually-
do have
I
printouts.
do have printouts.
Yeah, I was gonna say for the viewers,
Okay, for the viewers, I
he actually
rustling
printed out
the
paper.
paper.
Which
So,
also,
yeah.
again, what font are you using? Is that American Typewriter?
No, this is Courier, which
Oh, I
is essentially
think we've
the
had
same
this
thing.
conversation
It is
before.
the same. It's Courier, which is like the typewriter
Yeah.
thing, which I like because it's a huge font that I print out. It's like in 50-point font.
Yeah, but you
or
know
whatever.
Helvetica is the most like universally well recognized font when it comes to signage and things like that. It's the easiest to read font. From what I learned, the Helvetica font was not built. I almost said built. The
Well,
Helvetica
kind of.
font was not discovered. What invented, I guess, in
Created?
1957. Created as
1957.
a uniformed way of signage and things like that.
Well,
Fun fact.
Helvetica is very similar to this, but Helvetica Courier is very, very easy to
Mhm.
read, and it's a monospace, which means every letter takes up the same amount of space,
Right.
which is kind of interesting.
Well, now that we've lost at least
Yeah,
75% of our viewers,
Yeah,
what did
exactly.
you actually write down on that piece of paper in
Well,
Courier?
since the dogs don't really care, who are our
Right,
target
our
viewers.
main demographic of dogs home alone and an
Yes.
Amazon Alexa that has gone awry.
That's right. So I have proof in my hot little hands here that Rush,
Mm-hmm.
the movie Rush,
Oh.
and this is
Oh,
how
God.
we're
Here
this
we
is
go.
how we're going to dovetail the last
Yeah.
episode into this episode. Rush, and shame on you, Ron Howard, completely stole everything from Talladega Nights. Everything. So here's
Interesting.
So,
Okay, this
here's
is
what I'm
this is
gonna-
a theory.
Okay, so here's the theory here. Talladega Nights, first of all, 2006.
Right.
It was released in 2006. Rush, 2013.
Mhm.
I almost said Rush 2012, which I think is an album.
Yeah,
That's
probably.
a music album. 2012 Rush. Anyway, for all you rock fans out there.
Shout out.
So shout out to all you rock fans.
But not shout out
So-
too hard. We don't want you breaking a hip or something.
Right.
All you true rock and roll fans.
Wow. I think it's 2112 is Rush. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, Talladega Nights was released in 2006. Rush was released 7 years later in 2013.
Okay.
So, here's some similarities
Yeah.
I've seen between the two. In Rush, you had James Hunt.
Mhm.
He was one of the main characters, an enormous egomaniac.
Right.
Okay. Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby, enormous egomaniac.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The similarities continue.
Okay.
Rush, Nicky Lauda, foreigner, foreign accent, not American. Okay. So anything not American, I
Yeah,
guess,
okay.
is a foreigner.
Okay. I'll give that to you. However, most of the racing in Rush was done in Europe. So also technically
Yeah,
James Hunt was also technically a foreigner.
Yeah, well,
an American. But
not
go on.
American, not
Okay,
American.
not American. Okay. Because there are only two races according to us here in America. It's American and not American.
Right.
So okay,
Exactly.
go on.
So Rush, you had Nicky Lauda, who
Yeah.
was the foreigner. In Talladega Nights, of course, you had Gene Gerard,
Yeah.
who is the foreigner,
Right.
who is against him. They're enemies. They're
Okay.
rival drivers. In Rush, James Hunt has an extravagant lifestyle. In Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby has an extravagant lifestyle.
Right.
Rush, the drivers work their way up through the ranks.
Mhm.
Talladega Nights, drivers work their way up through the ranks. Rush, Formula One. Talladega Nights, NASCAR. Interesting.
What do you mean interesting? Those are two different leagues on other sides of the planet. What? What do you mean that's
You don't-
interesting? That's not. That's the opposite of interesting.
Well, you have the two.
That's like there's water. There's water in Europe and here. Coincidence?
What I'm saying
Okay.
is that they had to switch something to change the two because Rush totally stole everything
Okay.
from Talladega Nights. Okay, so Rush, fast cars, accidents. Talladega Nights, fast cars, accidents. Okay, Rush, two Rush, two polar opposite drivers and they're enemies. Talladega Nights, two polar opposite drivers, they're enemies.
Okay, same argument you used 2 minutes ago, but go on.
It's fine. Rush, the heroes put everything on the line to win. Talladega Nights, the heroes put everything on the line to win. Rush. Okay, here's a good one.
Okay.
Rush.
Been waiting for it.
Don't. I worked many minutes on
Okay.
this argument,
What
Your
is it?
Honor. Your Honor,
What
hear
is
me
it?
out, if I may, if it please the court. Rush. Beautiful wife, Susie Miller in Rush,
Okay.
and they get a divorce. Talladega Nights, beautiful wife, Carly Bobby, divorce.
Okay.
Similarities? Much.
Okay, I'll give you that one. That one's pretty similar.
Rush, horrific accident, and a hard comeback from a horrific accident.
Okay.
Talladega Nights, comically horrific accident,
Yeah.
hard comeback.
Okay.
So for Ricky Bobby.
I'm with you there. I'm
All right,
following
so
you. I'm following you again.
I've got another half page here, my
God.
friend. Okay, here we go.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
No, Rush, the pit crews. Okay, in Rush,
Okay.
some of them were featured characters in the storyline. Talladega Nights, the pit crew was very much featured characters in the storyline. Rush, enemies, they ended the movie in Rush. The enemies had mutual respect for each other. Talladega Nights, the enemies had mutual respect and a very long kiss between Will Ferrell and the other guy who was Sacha Cohen.
Sacha Baron Cohen, but I want to keep saying Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I know.
But it's,
Same difference. Gerard
Yeah.
Depardieu.
yeah.
In Rush, the race announcers explain every detail. Talladega Nights, same but funnier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In Rush, they have a lot of champagne showers in Rush in that movie. They did the same thing in Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
Totally stole that from them, even though that's a complete race car thing. And every single movie and every single race has that. But, I'm just making up stuff here. Rush, there were no kids or family except for spouses.
Right.
So no family. Talladega Nights, there was family. There was moms, dads, grandpas, kids, spouses.
Yeah, so that's the difference. That doesn't help your argument at all.
So what I'm saying is that they had, again, needed to find something. Formula One versus NASCAR.
Yeah. Okay.
No families versus families. Okay, they had to find something.
Yeah.
Had to just something. Rush stole. Okay, so Rush stole so much more, but I'm trying to forget everything I can about Rush. So
Fair
that's
point.
okay. No mention, by the way, in Rush of nacho cheese fountains.
That's true. That is
None.
very true.
And by the way, if you have an accent, you must be a race car driver.
That is.
Okay, that pretty much.
So here are my thoughts on that.
Okay, all right.
I am upset you spent time on that. I'm really upset.
Why
I'm
would you
genuinely upset you
why-
spent time on that.
What? You mean in the
Those were
podcast?
the loosest terms of similarities. You know what that's like? You know what
Okay.
that's like?
All right, what is it like? What is that like?
The very first. Okay, so this was August of 2015.
All right, it better
No.
be good.
Never mind. This was September of August. No, September. September of 2015.
September of August.
September of August. September of 2015. I
Yeah.
drove to school for the first time ever in my 1985 Mazda RX-7.
Okay.
I pull up to school feeling hot,
Yeah.
and I get out of the car.
Yep.
And the first thing a kid says to me is, "Hey, is that a Corvette?"
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what's happening here is he literally saw a red car and thought it was a Corvette. Are you following me now? You saw two racing movies, and you assume that they picked off of one another.
You cannot.
Your reasons.
You cannot deny the similarities.
Your reasons. Let me boil it down for you, in
All right,
case you
fine.
happen to
Whatever.
tune out for the last 18 minutes, even though we've only been recording 14. So you said
Yeah.
they're similar because there's fast cars,
Yeah, fast cars and accidents.
a divorce,
A divorce, yeah.
a
Sad.
pit crew.
Yes, and they're funny, both of them. Rush
that's
not
it.
so much.
So like literally from those standards,
Yeah.
you're
What I'm saying is that Rush completely stole their entire story from Ricky
also
Bobby.
Rush was
Talladega
based
Nights.
off of real life.
Yeah, whatever.
So are you saying that Niki Lauda and James Hunt in the 1970s were like, 35 years from now there's going to be a movie starring a guy who I think was born last year. Let us live our lives in accordance to this movie that will soon be written.
I see the logic in that. I
find it hard to follow, if I'm honest.
I just and Ricky Bobby, true story.
I don't think
It
that's
has to.
true.
It's a movie. How can it not be a true story?
It's 100% not a true story.
It is absolutely.
However,
Just like Star Wars, true story. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
this is hurting my head physically. I did like the fact
All right.
that Dale Earnhardt's cameo in the movie,
Yes.
where
yes,
he's
yes.
like big fan.
Big
He's
fan.
like,
And then
I'll
he-
see you out there.
and he brushes it off.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, great.
Such
And
a
he's
great moment
and-
in the movie.
so nice, like
Mhm.
so nice. The two of them together,
Yeah,
and he's like, "Yeah, I'll see you out there."
that
It's
must have
like,
been
"Oh,
so fun to film.
Oh yeah,
Knowing that,
Yeah.
like Will Ferrell and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Like
Yeah.
that must have been so fun to film.
And isn't Dale Earnhardt Jr. Isn't he in Cars too? Isn't he like one of the voices in Cars, or was
Yes,
he? Yeah, I think
yes,
so.
he was in the movie Cars. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because I remember. I think I heard him in Cars. Anyway,
yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh, maybe it's a later car. Maybe. Are we mixing him up with Michael Schumacher?
maybe. Sorry.
No,
guys.
I think he is in Cars though. For some reason, I know like Richard Petty was in Cars.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
I think Dale Earnhardt was in Cars. Anyway,
So yes.
I have a deep love for this movie.
So
deep
so do I.
love for
So
this movie.
yeah, tell me your feelings about it. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I think the most important thing about this movie, the last time I saw this movie was March of 2018, because I
Oh.
was down in Kentucky
Mhm.
with a bunch of friends who were female,
Mhm.
and it was a house of sorority girls,
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
we chose to watch Talladega Nights.
Seriously, they chose that?
Yes. Well, okay, Justin and I had a heavy influence, but
I was gonna say I don't know.
but
Okay.
they loved it.
Mhm.
And I think that's always my biggest indication or indicator with these movies.
Yeah.
Is that if they're car related, but people who don't give a rip about cars
Mhm.
love it,
Yes,
then that's truly a good movie.
Yes.
Because I think it's one thing for car people to love a car movie because that's all I
Yeah.
talk about. That's all I do. Like I'm
Yep.
pretty easy to please when it comes to a car on a screen.
Yep.
But I think for other people to like it, I think that's a huge deal.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and it says a lot about the story.
Yeah. And just how quotable this movie is.
Jeez,
I mean,
Evan.
like, still to this day,
Yeah.
this movie came out. What is that? 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Is it 16
So
years
is
ago?
it, I don't know.
2006. I can't do math. So
2006
plus 4 would be to 2010, and then plus 11. 11 plus
2000
15. 15 years.
15. You're right.
15
sorry,
years,
15
yeah.
years ago. So 15 years
So
ago.
the people that were born when this movie came out are getting
Yeah.
their learner's permit
Yeah,
right now.
that's
which is
pretty
insane.
crazy. All right.
But to have a movie that came out 15 years ago and is
Yeah.
still so regularly quoted that if
Yes.
you ain't first, you're last,
Right.
which you always got to throw that southern drawl onto
Yeah.
it. You're not
Yeah.
first, you're last. It's
Right.
you're not first, you're last.
You land.
That is so quotable. Well, I'll tell you what, Dale, I'm the best there is. I wake up and I piss excellence. That one gets quoted all the time. That I don't know what to do with my hands when he's doing
Yeah.
the interview and his
Yeah.
hands keep coming up. I mean, such a great
Well, when he does,
moment.
it's so great. Yeah, when he does that first interview and he's like, I see cars go fast. Cars going fast. Yeah, cars. No, it's so quiet.
Yeah.
And it's like
It's so good.
funny, so awkward. And then you cut to later, smash cut to him later, and he's like, "I'm the best there is."
Yeah.
And
I wake up in the morning and I piss excellence.
I'm the best. Nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Shake
just
and Bake, another one.
Shake and bake.
Which many people my age
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that Shake and Bake was a product,
Right.
which we actually had as kids, didn't we?
Absolutely, you guys did. Absolutely. That was
It was like a breaded chicken
yes.
thing, right?
When you were very young, I remember making Shake and Bake.
Yeah.
And it was always fun because what you did is you seal it into it's basically just breadcrumbs and some
Right.
seasoning. You seal it into a Ziploc bag
Yeah.
along with the meat, and then you shake the bag, and it coats the chicken,
Right.
and then you usually bake it. I think you bake it.
You don't
So
bake
it's
it in the bag, right?
No. You take it out of the bag. You put it on the serving tray, or whatever. You put it in the tray. Put it in the oven, so it's literally shake it and bake it.
Which I feel like was very much like an early 2000s fad. Like, I don't think even Shake and Bake is even around anymore, is it?
I don't think it's around anymore, but it was an old product. It was around for a long time.
Okay, interesting.
I would say, for as long as I can remember. So
I just remember it as a kid. I just
60s,
assumed.
70s.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, 70s.
So
Shake and bake.
someone somewhere was like, hey, we have this chicken and breadcrumbs, but we don't want to buy the machine that coats it.
Yeah.
So they just
Right.
they just added a baggie into it.
So part of food preparation is companies had to find interesting ways to make food preparation more interesting and faster and more fun and whatever.
Right.
So one of the reasons why, by the way, cake mixes,
Mm-hmm.
you have to add eggs to
Right.
cake mixes, right? You don't really need to do that. You do with the cake mixes, but you don't. The reason why they made it so that you had to add 2 eggs was because, quote unquote, housewives thought it was too easy to just put water into a mix and then put it in a bowl and bake it. They didn't feel like they were actually baking anything. So by adding eggs, you feel
Interesting.
like you're
Yeah.
actually doing something.
Yeah.
You're actually baking. So that's the reason why
Totally
they
off
did that.
tangent of
Yeah.
that, because we're good at that.
Because we're really
I
good at
was
that.
reading an article on Twitter. It was the 2002 Ford Focus press release.
Okay, that is really different.
Well,
than
because
what
you
we're
brought
talking
up like housewives and
Yep.
stuff, and
Yep.
like that quote unquote theory or whatever. And in the 2002 Ford Focus press release, they said that they specifically designed the handles with the woman in mind. So she didn't chip her nails
All right.
opening
you
the
go.
door. And then
All right.
also it was like some weird verbiage, but it was like there's enough room in the trunk for like a woman's handbag or whatever. Like literally it was like, or like whatever women have, we don't know. We haven't talked to one.
Ever.
It was just
Yeah.
very funny. So
Yeah.
when you said housewife, that
No,
made me
it's-
think of it. And it was car
It's
related.
true, but that's getting back to that. Then the shake and bake was the same idea. You didn't
Yeah.
feel like you were totally doing something, so they made it fun. And then the commercial came out for shake and bake. And by the way, I'm using my hands wildly
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Will
Very
Ferrell didn't know
wild,
what
yeah.
to do with his hands.
Yeah.
So what they did was they created this. Basically, it's just breadcrumbs and seasoning.
Yeah.
But they had this. Someone came up with it. It was a great idea. Put it in a bag. You shake it with the to coat the chicken.
Right.
You shake it. But what that did is allowed people to feel like they were doing something. It also allowed kids to help. In fact, the famous commercial for Shake and Bake was the woman, and I think it was like a 60s commercial. The woman, and it's a Southern commercial, and she brings
Yeah.
the food to the table,
Yeah.
and she says, "Oh, it's Shake and Bake." And then the little kid goes, "And I helped."
Oh god.
And that
yeah.
is the thing. I helped. It's Shake and Bake. So Shake and Bake was a
Yeah.
huge deal.
That's funny.
So it was like this giant thing. But when they brought Shake and Bake into this, and it's really funny because their hand gestures when they first
Yeah.
do the Shake and Bake are really bad. They're
yeah,
like stupid.
Yeah.
And by the end, their hand gestures are super fluid for
Yeah.
the Shake and Bake thing. So very, very funny.
I just think it's funny because like a lot of friends my age, like they only know the term shake and bake
Yeah.
from
from
this movie.
Yeah.
And like we'll be
it's-
driving on the highway and be like shake and bake, baby.
Right.
But
right.
it's like they have no clue. It's like a lot of my friends also don't know what the Jetsons are.
Yeah, that's sad. I actually, interestingly enough, my fear of being fired
Mm-hmm.
is because of the Jetsons.
Why? What?
So
Wait, what?
everything.
This is some deep-rooted trauma we're getting into.
Yeah. So every time. So if you ever watch the Jetsons cartoon,
Mm-hmm.
Spacely Sprockets is where George Jetson works, and his boss, I think it's Mr. Spacely. Okay, what a clever
Super
name.
imaginative. Yeah, go on.
Spacely. Anyway, I think it's Spacely. Anyway, he always every show, whenever you would see him
Mm-hmm.
near the end, or George Jetson would mess up, and Mr. Spacely or whoever his boss was would say, "Jetson, you're fired," and he would fire him on every show for the littlest things. For the
Jeez,
longest
yeah.
time, that was ingrained in me, and I thought for the littlest thing, I was going to get fired for
Yeah.
anything that I messed up on.
Well, because of South Park, I thought I was going to get killed every day, like they killed Kenny in every episode.
Yeah, that is true. They did kill him every day. Do
but-
they still do that, by the way?
I haven't watched South
Okay,
Park in
me either.
forever because, I'm an adult with a job, so...
Still.
People who watch South Park are either A, unemployed, or
Mhm.
B, under the age of 15.
Yeah.
So it's one of the two.
Alright,
But,
well, okay. Yeah.
not to alienate anyone, but,
No.
I drove a car today that made the Jetsons sound while
No.
driving. It was a Kia Niro EV. And so below 15 miles an hour, it made like a humming sound, and it sounded kind
Really?
of like the Jetsons car. And then backing up, it had a backup beeper. So I think the only
Okay.
car I've ever driven that actually had a backup beeper,
Oh, yeah,
like a
that's right. I
Mack
mean,
truck.
Well, I was going to say large
Yeah, like
utility
the
vehicles
beep,
have, yeah.
Beep.
have
Yeah,
that.
it actually had that backing up,
Wow.
which was
Yep,
very weird.
Very interesting. Can you turn it
Um,
off? Could you turn it
I
off?
couldn't find it in the settings to
No,
turn
see,
it off.
That's scary.
It is a law now, or laws
It
are
is?
being put in place for EV vehicles because they're so quiet.
Oh.
Driving through a city area, you
Yeah.
don't want to clip someone that
Yeah.
doesn't hear you.
Yeah.
So
you have to roll down the window and go brum brum.
Yeah. Yeah.
You actually have to do it with your mouth. You can't use anything else.
There
You
is
have
an
to
electric
brum,
car.
brum.
I believe it's the Polestar that
Yeah.
actually will simulate a V8 sound when it's accelerating.
Really?
Yeah. It's all weird.
Okay.
Um,
Coming through your Bose speakers. That's
yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Harman Kardon.
Brum. Yeah.
No, never mind. I drove a different Kia, the 2022 Kia Stinger today that had the Harman Kardon system, which is fantastic.
Really?
But
Wow.
getting back to the movie.
Yeah. There's
I,
a movie
I
we
did want
watched.
to talk because I mentioned this last time when we announced that we were going to do this movie.
Yeah.
That this was really the golden era of comedy.
Yes.
And so
True.
these are just the movies from this era, 2004 to 2012. So 8 years. These are just the movies that I could think of off the top of my head.
Really? Okay.
Which also I learned that 2004 was a stellar year for comedy.
All right.
2004 had Anchorman,
Mhm.
Dodgeball,
Mhm.
Shaun of the Dead,
Mhm.
Napoleon Dynamite, and Team America World Police.
Wow.
That was all 2004. But going on, The 40-Year-Old Virgin in 2005, Talladega Nights, this film in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Borat was also in 2006. Sacha Baron Cohen.
Wow, he was busy.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Hot Fuzz in 2007.
Mhm.
Superbad in 2007.
Okay.
Step Brothers in 2008. Pineapple Express in 2008.
Mhm.
Zombieland in 2009.
Yeah, that was
Again,
fun.
a highly quoted movie
Oh yeah.
with all the rules. Rule, whatever. Check
The rules
the
and the
back
Twinkies. Yeah.
2009 Hangover, The Hangover. The Other Guys in 2010. 21 Jump Street in 2012.
Okay.
And Ted in 2012 as well.
Wow.
Which those are all like raunchy,
Yeah.
late night comedies that you can just sit and enjoy time and time and time and time and time again.
You know what was another? So let's go back to that. But what's another era was the 1984, 85, 86. Huge movies came out.
Right.
Ghostbusters.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. Other things.
Other things that are
No, I think like
no, the 80s films were definitely
Yeah.
very I mean like 16 Candles,
Mhm.
The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
So that was around 1984. This is around 2004. So I wonder what 2024
Yeah,
is going to bring us.
I guess we're almost there.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Love
it
to see
brings
that.
back the comedy film
Well,
because
hopefully it brings back filmmaking because there's been
Yeah.
so much stuff
I mean
with
it's just
COVID.
all
so,
it's
yeah.
just all blockbusters now and I feel like there hasn't been a really good comedy film in the last few years. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
22 Jump Street, I think, was really good. In terms of a sequel,
I didn't see it. I didn't.
you should watch it. 22 Jump Street, they like fully tongue-in-cheek, like, they're like, we have to do this again. Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Ice Cube's in it, and he's like, just do the same thing you did last time. And it's very tongue-in-cheek of the fact that they're literally doing like what every sequel does.
Yeah.
And they literally called it 22 Jump Street.
Yeah.
Instead of 21 Jump Street. Ted 2 was still funny, but not the best. Not as good as Ted 1. Ted 1 was phenomenal.
I've never seen either one of those movies in their entirety. I've seen bits and pieces, and they were pretty funny. Of Ted, yeah.
Wow, you gotta watch. I found it really funny.
Yeah,
Speaking of Mark Wahlberg, though,
yes.
Today on Amazon Prime they added Shooter.
Oh, they did?
They
okay,
added a bunch of movies to Amazon Prime last night.
Did they really?
Mm-hmm.
Did they take away some?
Or maybe today, because technically it's May 1st overseas.
Oh, that's right.
Shout out, we're filming this April 31st.
Shout out to my friend in New Zealand who, it's like definitely tomorrow.
Shout out New Zealand.
Saturday.
Bucket list place to go.
Yeah, I talked to him yesterday on Discord.
Yeah.
We talked on Discord.
Yeah.
And I was like, so it's like 3 weeks ahead in your time, right? And he's like, yeah. Pretty much. He, by the way, my friend, does all the voices for the scary creatures in Power Rangers.
Has he ever done a car movie voice?
I don't think so. I could ask him.
If he has, we should
he does
definitely have him on the podcast and talk about it.
Yeah, actually, we should. It would be fun to have Cam on the podcast.
Yeah, 100%.
He's pretty hilarious and super nice guy. So yeah, shout out to Campbell Cooley.
Shout out.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say. No, but like I feel like there hasn't been a big comedy film in years. It feels like almost 10 years. I mean, like
it is true that there. Yeah,
like Ted 2, I think was like 2014 or something like that. I mean, like there's been
what was the most recent like comedy
like
movie that I watched?
Like really, that's what I'm reverting back to is like 22 Jump Street, which I think was like 2014.
Okay, so what about like Deadpool 2? That was pretty recent. I mean, it's not a comedy.
Yeah, that's the thing is that like Deadpool to me is a superhero movie that is funny.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I'm talking about something that is nothing besides being a comedy. I'm talking like Step Brothers.
Right.
Like there's no Step Brothers cinematic universe. Like there's no Disney Plus isn't making a backstory of the boat that gets crashed in Step Brothers. You know what I mean? Like there's no conspiracy theories. There's no as much honestly, you know what? The other thing I was thinking?
Yeah.
This Talladega Nights I think would actually be worthy of a sequel.
Yeah, I think it would be.
I think a really funny idea would be if Will Ferrell, since he's a big listener.
Shout out Will Ferrell.
Shout out Will Ferrell. Well, I hope he doesn't listen to our Thanksgiving episode. Oh man! Hey, Will Ferrell, if you're listening, please don't listen to our Thanksgiving episode.
Yeah, because this will be before that one.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So
But I think a good idea would be Ricky Bobby getting canceled with cancel culture and stuff.
Getting canceled.
Yeah.
Cancel culture.
You don't understand any of that, do you? Wow. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So, do you really not understand cancel culture, or know what getting canceled is?
Let me see what your explanation is, and then we'll talk about it.
So, this has been a huge thing that's been happening in Hollywood for the last 3-4 years, probably.
Okay.
And basically, it started off with like the Harvey Weinsteins of the world, right?
Yeah.
And it came out that Harvey Weinstein was doing No shout out to Harvey Weinstein. No shout out to Harvey Weinstein. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Or as Nick Kroll and John Mulaney's monologue for the Spirit Awards said, he will not be remembered, or his grave won't say Harvey Weinstein. It'll just say XXL unmarked grave. John Mulaney and Nick Kroll quote there.
Okay, shout out to John Mulaney and
John Mulaney's fantastic. Hope he's doing well in rehab.
What?
Yeah, he relapsed in December actually.
Mulaney did?
Yeah, cocaine, I believe.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I would believe Nick Kroll. And sorry, Nick Kroll, but I know you're a listener too. But shout out to both of you guys. No, I didn't know that. I had no idea.
He did he was a big partier back when he was a teenager in early 20s.
I would never see him as that though.
Yeah, which is so funny because
So
I mean
when I
he
watch
even
his
has
stand-up, he looks like such a clean-cut kid.
yeah, and he does pretty clean comedy, and he has a bit about it where he used to black out and do cocaine and everything, and now he's scared to get a flu shot back. I
Really?
think this
Yeah.
was like his 2015 special or something.
Yeah. Okay.
New in Town or the Comeback Kid or something. Anyway,
So
they did
so-
a bit about Harvey Weinstein.
yeah.
Anyway,
so
so getting
cancel
back to
culture.
cancel
Yeah.
culture.
Let's
So
start
off with
it.
like the Harvey Weinsteins of the world, where it was like they
Shout
got
out to-
exposed, and then, stop shouting out Harvey Weinstein.
Okay. So,
And then
No
it
shot.
moved on to like, the Kevin Spaceys of the world where he was pressuring young
Yep.
men.
right.
And so they get quote unquote canceled, where like basically you not protest this person, but like basically they're canceled, they're done. Like people don't hire him anymore. He gets blacklisted from a bunch of stuff because of what he did in his past.
Okay.
following?
So I totally get that, but there's a totally different term for that. I mean,
What?
you just like you said, you're blacklisted. You're
Right, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
yeah.
that's what blacklisting
But
was.
basically it's
You're canceled.
getting
okay.
canceled
All right.
is like across the board.
Okay.
Like
All right.
basically, you're gonna get hate if you tweet ever again. You're gonna get hate if you ever post on Instagram ever. Like it's just
Okay.
like that person is just overall canceled. So it's not like he's specifically blacklisted from anything.
Yeah.
But it's just canceled.
You know
that-
who else is canceled?
Who?
George Jetson's boss.
George Jetson's
in my
boss
book,
is,
George Jetson's boss.
in your
is
book,
canceled.
he's canceled.
Okay, I want
Um,
to throw that out there, just a kind of circling back
Right.
to what we said earlier.
But then cancel culture has started. Cancel culture started in a very positive way to shed light on these creeps and people in the industry that are abusing their power, blah blah blah, things
Mhm.
like that. It
Mhm.
had a very pure start, but now cancel culture is it's moving on to being overdone. I think people get hungry to find out something about someone else and cancel them for it.
yeah,
Like Kevin Hart was supposed to, he was supposed to do the Oscars.
oh yeah,
He was, I believe, supposed to host the Oscars, and they found a tweet from 2014. This was last year or 2 years ago. So 2019. They found a tweet from 2014 where he said that if he had a gay son, he would hit him over the head with a dollhouse. Now,
okay.
breaking that down,
That's Kevin Hart though.
it's
I mean,
Kevin Hart. That's very clearly a joke because
Yeah,
if you have a son, the idea of building him a dollhouse and then hitting him over the head with it, that's
it's just
funny
silly.
imagery.
That's just right. It's just.
But
it's
the
nothing.
LGBTQ plus community came
Mhm.
after him, saying that those tweets were insensitive, and sure, let's
Yeah,
say
okay.
the tweets were a little insensitive. Whatever, it was a joke.
That was back a long. That
It
was
wa-
like
But that's
a
the thing.
while ago,
So
yeah.
people are digging into people's pasts
yeah.
and canceling them for stuff they did years ago. Brian Callen. I know are you a fan of Brian Callen, comedian?
I can't say that.
He was on
either.
Mad TV.
Oh, right.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah,
he got
sure, sure.
canceled last year.
What? Wait,
for
what?
allegedly pressuring a girl to have sex with him, and which it came out she was lying.
Oh,
But
jeez.
now he can't
Really?
have a podcast anymore. Like now he has a podcast, but it's only behind Patreon. He lost all of his advertisers
Wow.
just based off of basically a claim. Another comedian, Chris D'Elia, apparently
Oh,
was texting underage girls in like 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Never did anything, but was just like texting them, like asking them to make out, which is weird. It's definitely weird and creepy.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
not
that's-
saying it's
that's-
not weird and
That's definitely
creepy,
weird, but
but his whole career was just ended.
wow.
Those came out, and like now again, no one will sign him. He's kind of blacklisted from everything,
Yeah.
basically for texting girls in 2012.
Huh.
So yeah, I mean,
Well,
so
okay.
so getting back to all that, I think it would actually be kind of a funny, tongue-in-cheek, thumb and nose, whatever body part and whatever other body part,
Mhm.
joke if Ricky Bobby was the next sort of cancel culture victim.
Interesting.
I don't know. Because like Ricky Bobby is just so eccentric, and like I think something has to make a comedy about getting canceled. I think that's how we're gonna get over cancel culture, is to kind of look at it as something as absurd, if that makes sense.
I totally agree with you. I think that's an excellent idea. That actually would be just, you could just do a movie just on that, canceled. I mean,
right?
really,
Yeah.
really
Because I think right now
Yeah.
it's still very much a real thing. Like canceling someone is very much still a real process when it doesn't really need to be. I think it's definitely gone overboard.
Yeah.
Now we just need to recognize that it's overboard. And then I think things will start to get back to normal and hopefully have a golden age of comedy films again.
Yeah, that would be great. I think,
Because multiple
yeah.
times in this movie, they say the R word,
okay, yeah.
which is now very much something you can't do.
Yes.
I mean, that's very much a cancelable offense, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so whether you agree with that or not, and I think, I'm all for inclusion and making everyone feel comfortable, but there is a sort of joke in it. And if you're playing a character, I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with this.
No, I know. And it's almost like, especially for a lot of people, Will Ferrell, who am I thinking of? The Andy Samberg.
Oh,
Adam. No, wait.
Oh, I totally forgot to add that to my list of greats. 2006 Hot Rod.
Oh, yeah.
Hot Rod, come on, great
that
film.
That was great. Oh, who am I thinking of?
I don't know who you're thinking of.
Read my mind. So,
Like The Lonely Island, like Andy Samberg, Bill Hader.
Okay, so those.
Well,
yeah.
he's not in The Lonely Island,
Okay.
but Bill Hader's like associated with him. Will Forte, that sort of cast of SNL.
Bill Hader, by the way, is awesome.
Oh, fantastic!
I love it. It's
Top
really-
10 people I would ever want to meet.
Yes,
100%.
absolutely, 100%. Because I think he would be a fascinating person.
Mhm.
I really do. And I think it was who's the other guy? He plays Billy Madison. All of the
Adam
other
Sandler.
Is it Adam Sandler?
Yeah, Andy Samberg and Adam Sandler.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see how that'd be easy to mix up.
I get the two mixed up all the
Yeah.
time, but he has done so many movies
Mhm.
and so many things that there is a certain amount of time, I believe, for most actors
Mm-hmm.
that a certain genre will work for them, and then they get kind of worn out.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Oh,
people
100%. Yeah.
people get tired of watching them and the same types of things each time and all of that. So, Adam Sandler.
Sandler. Yeah,
Adam
Adam Sandler.
He is.
You think he's at the end of his cycle?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Although everyone praised his Uncut Gems movie, I have not seen it. That's a Netflix
but
movie.
See, that breaks out of his typical genre.
That's true. That wasn't a comedy.
No, it wasn't. And you know who will always have a job and won't be old is I cannot remember anything right now. I am.
We are really
senile and just
sundowning on this podcast today. The
No.
Alzheimer's are kicking in.
The person that won't is he played Beetlejuice. He played Batman, Mr. Mom.
Not Michael Caine.
Yeah, no, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton will not become old because he has crossed every line of genre. Comedy.
He was the other
drama.
guys. He was fantastic.
He was awesome.
Michael Keaton,
Mr. Mom, and then he was Batman, and then he was the founder in the McDonald's story.
The drama was what do they call those drama? Mockumentary.
Mockumentary or
No, it wasn't a
dramedy,
mockumentary.
I
It
don't
was
know.
actually just a story.
It was like a documentary
Yeah.
of the founder
Right,
of McDonald's, and so he plays this guy who's not a real likable guy, and to be honest with you. And then you've got Michael Keaton playing. I mean, he's played bad guys. He's played good guys, superheroes, comedy, fathers. He's played everything along the gamut. Another person I would be fascinated to talk to.
Oh yeah,
would be Michael Keaton because of his incredible range.
Yeah, his filmography has just been insane.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I think with Adam Sandler, he's done so many of the same things that you get kind of bored with it.
Do you think Will Ferrell has aged out?
Almost. I think he's close.
Because apparently, I never saw it, but the Sherlock movie with John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Sorry, Will Ferrell, if you're listening. It didn't get good reviews. I didn't end up going to see it.
I remember seeing. Oh, I didn't either, but I remember seeing it in the theater.
Yeah.
The trailer.
Yeah.
I actually thought, okay, it's going to be kind of funny between the two of them, but then again, I was kind of like, okay, you guys have done this so
Yeah.
many times. It's great to see you guys, and they're both very
Right.
funny, good actors in their own right. But, and that was why it was fun and nice to see John C. Reilly in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yes. He's just like he just works at like the gate, right?
Yeah,
Like,
he's basically a cop. Is
Which
what
is
he is.
great
He's
that
basically
he's-
a cop.
John C. Reilly's in the MCU, which is great.
Yeah, which is amazing. So he's in there, and he kind of plays just this straight-laced cop with
Yeah.
a family, and he's not like hysterically funny, not saying goofy lines, not doing any of this stuff. And again, I think that's really, really good and important for actors. Another actor who plays everything in the whole gamut,
Yeah.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
Everything. He's
yeah.
done like everything. Comedy, drama, action, everything.
Yeah. I actually
Uh-oh. Here we go.
I recently saw a SNL bit
Don't you
with
put
Tom
up that-
Hanks.
Don't you
No,
put
it
that
was
on
it
me.
was so
The-
funny. It was an SNL bit, and they were doing, I think it was Black Jeopardy. Have you seen this
Oh,
bit?
yeah.
Where
yeah.
he plays the old
He-
white guy with the "Make America
Right.
Great Again,"
Exactly,
and he
yeah.
the question is, what can skinny girls do for you?
Yeah.
Did you see this one? It was like,
I've
the
seen...
question was, what do skinny girls do for you? And
Yeah.
Tom Hanks buzzes in. He goes, not a damn thing. It was so funny.
Yeah, he actually,
It's
like,
so funny.
He actually, like, gets all the answers, and they
Yeah,
start going,
yeah.
okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
The Jeopardies on SNL have been really awesome. But
always
yeah.
fantastic.
And, of course, I'm going to come back to that with the whole Will Ferrell and SNL. There was a golden era, or one of many golden eras in SNL, with Will Ferrell
Mm-hmm.
as one of the main leads, and some of the funniest skits.
I mean that
watching.
Will Ferrell montage DVD that we listened,
Oh yeah,
or that we
We-
watched maybe
we wa-
800 times driving to South
we
Dakota.
we watched in the Pacifica.
Yeah,
with the
shout out the
DVD
Chrysler
player.
Pacific.
Yeah.
I think that's like the only major time we used that DVD player.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just some of the best skits.
And speaking
What?
of shout-outs,
Oh,
Raymond did.
shout out Craig Lieberman.
Craig
Shout
Lieberman.
out.
Craig
Craig
Lieberman. We gotta
Lieberman.
put you in there.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm looking up the cast
Yeah.
here because I also want to give a shout out to Molly Shannon
Yes.
from
yes,
SNL,
Yes.
who's in this movie, and she kills
She
it
does kill it.
as the drunk wife
Yes.
of the team owner. Oh,
Sh-
she's so
Yeah.
funny.
She's so funny, and she has such a tiny bit in this.
Yeah.
But the way that she does it, it's absolutely
Yeah.
hilarious, and it's such a great and I was thinking about that. You know, there were many nemesises. Nemesi,
Bad
what's
guys?
that? Bad guys. Let's
Yeah,
just-
in the
a
movie.
nemesis, a bad guy. So there's so many bad guys,
Yeah.
but they weren't like all. The thing was, is there were several, but they weren't. Any of them weren't that
Right.
crazy bad. So you had Gene Gerard. Okay,
Yeah,
of course,
of
that
course.
was like the main one. Then you had the owner, the Dennett
Yeah.
Jr. You had him, and he was a bad guy. And then, of course, his
Dad was kind of a bad
his
guy.
dad was his dad was kind of
His
a bad
dad
guy.
was a good guy and a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
not really sure how to feel about him.
Right. And then of course there was Ricky Bobby's what is what
Carl
is John C.
Jr.?
Reilly? No, John C. Reilly's character.
Yeah, it's something Carl something.
Yeah,
Jr.
it was
yeah.
yeah. He
Because he switches to a bad guy because he takes
he
his
does.
wife and takes his position.
He
Yeah.
does. And so it's kind of a frenemy kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, he was a friend and then he was an enemy, and then at the end they become friends again. So that was
Mm-hmm.
kind of an interesting arc. A change in that
Yeah.
character. And Ricky Bobby has this
Yeah.
arc. We talk about character arcs. He does
Yeah.
have an arc where he kind of realizes that he was kind of a jerk, but
Uh-huh.
he also realizes that he shouldn't be doing this for his dad. He's only doing it for himself.
Right.
And really that's who he's counting on.
Yeah,
is
which we
himself.
discover in a crazy scene with Amy Adams. It's just like where his secretary or like
Yeah.
his
Oh, yeah, his
press
assistant.
his
Yeah.
assistant. Which I felt was a little quick, where
Yeah.
she was like, "Believe in yourself," and then like the next day
Right.
they painted the car.
Right.
A little quick, but it's
Of
a
course.
comedy movie.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Although I do like speaking of that same scene,
Yeah.
is when he's playing the car video game and Gene Gerard shows up at the end.
Oh, yeah.
And he literally says
How'd I
to the
get in-
screen, "How'd you get into the video game so quick?" And then
You're
it's
so bad
true.
at driving. Are you Ricky
Are
Bobby?
you Ricky Bobby?
And he's like,
He's
how'd you get in the video game so quick? Oh, my God. It's so good.
And it's I mean, and it is true. That was one of those great things. That
I thought you were going to talk about with Glenn in the fire. With the next morning where they're
That's
like,
right.
Glenn died in my arms.
Right.
He said, win this.
Right, he's got to win this. But
Glenn,
is that you?
Are you hiding over there? I told you to wait till after the race.
Was he crying?
Yeah, was he crying?
Was he crying?
I forget. Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Now I have to go to the cast list because
All right.
that's another. Jack McBrayer?
Yeah, McBride.
McBrayer
McBrayer,
plays
I think
Glenn.
he was in 30 Rock.
Yes,
Huge thing in
huge
30
role
Rock,
in
yeah,
30
so.
Rock. I think a phenomenal actor. Always just
yeah.
happy
Yeah,
to
yeah.
see him on screen.
Yep, me too.
Also, David Kochner? He was also in Anchorman. Did a bunch of stuff with Will Ferrell.
Yes.
And Ian Roberts, too,
Okay, I'm trying to remember who that one
played
was.
Kyle.
Okay.
Just a bunch of names that Will Ferrell has worked with before, which was really cool.
Yeah, and Lucius, the guy who plays Lucius, he passed away too, didn't he?
Did he?
You were just talking
yeah. Why am I blanking right now? Michael Clark Duncan.
Yes,
Michael Clark Duncan.
Cool guy.
Passed
but
away in 2012, sadly.
Yep.
Again, another actor with range because he was in Green Mile.
Right.
A
Totally
very harsh
dramatic.
movie.
With Tom Hanks.
With Tom Hanks.
So,
Shout
circle
out.
all of the...
Yeah.
Shout out to Tom Hanks. We can shout out to Tom Hanks, can we?
Yeah,
Can't
well,
we?
he's an avid listener as well, but
Yeah. Or his dog is.
phenomenal. Hopefully not his son.
What?
Chet Hanks.
What?
Oh, man. Tom Hanks' son has lost it.
What?
Oh, my God.
Okay, that's news to
Hold
me,
on.
but okay. All right. Again, though, many quotable lines in this movie, and the fact that they talk to each other while Ricky Bobby is at home on the phone talking to his friend Carl Jr. or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's in his house, and he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"I swear your house is haunted."
I think it's haunted. And now when the TV's on, how do I change the volume on the radio?
Yeah.
He's like, why do you want to listen to the TV and the radio? He's like, I like the party.
I like to party. Yeah.
No.
Why am I still talking to you?
Getting back to it.
Yeah.
Chet Hanks,
Yeah.
Tom Hanks' son,
Yeah.
started a clothing company and stuff, and he's been trying to promote White Boy Summer.
What?
Yeah, he's like, hey, this summer's gonna be White Boy Summer, because there's like a saying of like hot girl summer.
Oh.
Like when girls, wear swimsuits and stuff and they work on their summer bodies, it's going to be a hot girl summer.
Oh. Gotcha,
So then
okay.
he was like,
Yeah.
hot girl summer, let me make white boy summer, which arguably in this
Okay.
political climate
All right,
is
yeah.
rough. So we started selling shirts that say white boy summer,
Okay.
and then on the back it says stop hate.
Okay.
And then he also made shirts that said Black Queens.
Black Queens. I'm gonna wear one of those.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna wear one of those
no
around.
one's gonna wear them.
I'm gonna- yeah.
Because they're so hideous and terrible, and he's just off his rocker, I don't even think he has a rocker, if I'm honest.
Wow. Okay.
But
Well, that's
no shout out to Chet Hanks.
wow.
No
you're
shout
like,
out. I'm
you're
revoking shout outs this podcast. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what there's just so much to talk about this movie. One of my favorite scenes that I never caught on when I first originally watched it 80 million times.
Yeah.
Was when the mom is yelling up to the kids that dinner's ready, and she goes, "I've been slaving over this all day."
Yes.
And it's KFC,
Yes.
Taco Bell, Pepsi,
Right.
all these just
Right.
like store-bought
Right.
or store-bought brands.
Yes. Which is
I thought
awesome.
was hilarious.
Same thing with when she divorces him, like that
Yeah.
night, 3 hours.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
3
yeah.
hours after
I was
his-
gone for 3
I was
hours.
gone for 3 hours. He's like, she goes,
Did you crudely
baby,
paste your face over mine?
baby, you knew our marriage was over.
Yeah,
and he's like, no, I didn't.
I honestly didn't know.
Honestly,
Oh my gosh!
it was a cruel shell of a sham of a marriage. It was such great.
Oh,
But the
this is
thing
just-
was, and
yeah.
the funny thing is, in that line too, she says, "Baby, I'm a driver's wife. I don't work."
Oh yeah, I caught that for the first time too.
Yeah. That was
There's so many just little things that I didn't catch
yes.
beforehand that just make this movie so great.
Yeah, and yes, every single time there's little bits and pieces that I catch. I love the fact that they are pushing the different
Brands
when they're doing fake commercials.
Oh, yeah.
That's another thing.
What?
That Rush had the commercial in it, and so did Talladega Nights. That's another case closed, Your Honor. Case closed.
Adjourned
or
whatever. That's sustained.
I don't know.
Hey,
legal stuff.
I watched The People versus O.J. Simpson on HBO. I know exactly how courts work. Sustained.
Because I don't know. Your Honor.
Recess.
Case dismissed,
Yeah.
Your Honor.
Anyway,
or whatever. I don't even know.
So,
shout out to all you lawyers out there.
Shout out to the real lawyers
Yeah.
that are, veering their car into oncoming traffic after listening to that.
Yeah.
Almost an hour in. Let's talk about the cars, huh?
Well, I guess that would be a good thing to do.
Maybe
Since
time
it
to
is
do that.
the Unnamed Car Movie Podcast.
Unnamed movie car
Movie
podcast.
car
It's
podcast.
fine. You
yeah.
don't do
I don't
anything.
even know anything. I don't
That's
know
fine.
nothing.
You don't hand draw the thumbnails.
I don't do anything for this show.
Which also, arguably, the thumbnail of this one is not my best work. It was really hard to draw the cougar on the hood of the car. It's not very good.
The cougar was a big theme in this movie.
Yeah,
really
which I
big
loved.
theme, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
Sorry, so let's get to the cars.
No, so
Can
so
we
the
talk
first
about
car.
Chevelle?
What?
Is it a Chevelle that his dad owns?
It's a Chevelle Malibu. So this was back when the
Okay.
Chevelle and Malibu were one car. The
Wow,
Malibu
yeah,
was an
the Malibu.
option package for the Chevelle and later became its own vehicle.
Okay. So anyway, go ahead.
So
You got
this
other
one-
things. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, this one had a 307 small block Chevy in it, which is distinguished by the side fender. It said 307
Oh.
small block.
Okay. Yeah.
Very cool car, 1969
Very
Chevy
cool.
Malibu.
Love that car.
Or Chevy Chevelle Malibu.
Love that
the
car.
13 on the side, cougar in the car,
Yes.
everything like that.
All that
Um,
stuff. And
oh,
the
another
gold and
thing.
black.
Yes,
Paint job.
and another thing is that when they're all leaving to go to Applebee's after the last race,
Love the Applebee's.
love the
references.
Applebee's because that's
Yeah.
that was such. I don't know if it's product placement or not, but that was such a perfect choice.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
genuinely, white trash people think that Applebee's is the end all be all restaurant.
Yeah, but I love Applebee's, by the way. Shout out to Applebee's.
Shout
'cause I
out
do
Applebee's.
love
It is really
Applebee's,
good,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's just so funny
But
that
it
like
is true, though. Yeah.
it's
You're
just
going to
like
have a good home-cooked meal.
if someone is like,
Yeah.
let's have a fancy dinner,
Yes.
and if someone recommends Applebee's,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, this is rough. I don't want to
Yeah.
see where their trailer's parked. You know what I mean? Like it's a good food. It's good food.
Yeah.
But it's not high end.
No, I wouldn't call it like but they also do call it Sizzler, which is awesome
Oh,
too.
yeah.
The Sizzler house, the
But
Sizzler
when they're walking back to the car and he slides in through the window and then
Yeah.
he's talking to his kids, he's like, "Now these doors open."
I did
He's
not
like,
catch that.
Oh, really?
Did
the
you say
dad
it?
slides in through the windows. He's like, "You guys can open the doors. Like they still work."
I did not hear that. That
Yeah.
is so funny.
Yeah, it's very. I just caught it this time around.
So the cars.
Yes. Next up, 1973 Ford Ltd Wagon.
Wait, what year was that Chevy Malibu?
69.
Chevelle Malibu.
1969 Chevelle
Wow,
Malibu.
that was a good year for cars. Anyway.
Yeah,
okay.
great
Yeah.
year.
Yep.
1973 Ford Ltd Wagon, which is the car
Oh,
that Ricky
yeah.
Bobby steals with the baseball bat, and he's like, "I want to go fast," and
Yeah.
Jane Lynch was screaming in the
She
gas
was great in
station.
this movie too.
She kills every
yeah,
role.
I know. She just yep.
I mean,
totally
every
gets it.
single
yeah, totally
role.
agree.
She's an amazing actress.
Yep.
And
Yep. She's awesome.
the other thing,
Shout out to Jane Lynch.
shout
Hey,
out
shout out
Lynch.
to Jane Lynch.
I know
Is
she's
that
a
okay?
listener.
right.
She writes in from time to time, but
We can read a letter for some time, but yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
maybe for our 100th episode or something.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, she absolutely kills. Well, this movie had so many stars in it. Like actually going through this list, like
ton
big
of
heavy
stars.
names that almost like weren't as big at the time of the movie. Because like
Yeah.
Jane Lynch has obviously always been an amazing
Yeah.
actress, but I don't think she had gotten Glee yet, which really I feel like for my generation put her on the map. Was
Yeah,
the TV show Glee?
She did a bunch of movies. I agree, but she did a bunch of movies that there's a whole bunch that
Oh,
were
yeah.
done that were kind of mockumentaries. Just a real quick thing though, the budget
Yeah.
for Talladega Nights, $72.5 million.
Jeez. Probably most of that went into stars, and the
Yes.
other
Yes.
went into cars.
Yep, stars and cars. So, and just interesting, the opening weekend, it made $47 million.
Wow.
It grossed in the United States, grossed $148 million, and
Wow.
cumulative worldwide gross $163 million. Now, you want to hear about Rush? Let me just talk about Rush, okay?
Okay.
Can
All right. Let's hear about it.
Rush budget $38 million.
So less. Half.
Less, half.
Half the budget. Okay.
Half the budget. I thought it was actually very interesting. Opening weekend. Now, this may be a misprint in IMDb. I'm serious.
Okay.
I'm serious because it's so low. 187,000.
There's no way that's real.
187,289 is what is quoted for September 22nd of 2013 as the opening weekend. Now, it might have been a limited release,
Could have been.
but that seems way too
Yeah.
low. I really don't think it was that low. But I wanted to show you one other thing. Cumulative worldwide for Rush, only 96 million.
Wow.
Where cumulative worldwide for Talladega Nights, 163. So almost
Yeah.
double. So there
Wow.
you go.
That's
Just
good
gonna
to know.
throw that out there.
Getting
All right.
back to the cars.
Yeah, cars.
The rest of them are just like the NASCARs. Obviously, there's a Chevy
Yes.
Monte Carlo NASCAR, Dodge Intrepid NASCAR.
Really?
Ford Dodge Intrepid, because this was actually filmed before Chargers actually really came out into NASCAR.
Okay.
Charger came back, I believe, 05.
Yeah.
Which there are a few scenes that have Chargers in it.
Yeah.
But most of this was filmed in the 2003-2004 NASCAR season.
Yeah, in fact, they do mention when he first gets behind the wheel, Ricky Bobby gets behind the wheel, he's mentioned something about it's like $100,000 car.
Yeah. When he gets in when the driver quits.
Yeah.
Michael Clark Duncan, which is a fantastic scene.
Fantastic scene.
You guys try the sandwiches?
Right.
I got to make a
goes
call,
and
and then I'm getting back
He
in.
gets a sandwich
It's so
during
good.
a pit stop,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Yeah, it's so
I
good.
love that.
But
Anyway.
Michael Clark Duncan goes, if you wreck it, you're on the hook for $200,000.
Oh, yeah, I think it was 200.
I'm like, $200,000? That's cheap for
I was
one
gonna
of those cars.
say, yeah, I don't know.
But so this was as of 2011. This was an article by Dan Carney of Popular Mechanics.
Yeah.
And this is just talking about the engines of those NASCARs.
Yeah.
Which is a 90-degree pushrod engine, 358 cubic inch, 850 horsepower out of these engines.
Wow.
They are carbureted. They are pushrod.
Standard carburetor?
Up until
Oh,
2012,
okay.
they switched to fuel injection.
Okay.
So they are carbureted pushrod, 2 valves per cylinder. So
Wow.
an exhaust valve and an intake valve, where like some 80s Corollas, which we'll talk about later, had 5 valves per cylinder. And then in 2012, they switched to fuel injection, which was the fuel injection system was supplied by McLaren.
Really?
Yeah,
For all
McLaren
of them, or
Racing.
for the,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
so basically NASCAR is so strict that everyone runs
sure.
the same engine.
I'm sure.
I mean, it has they have Toyota Camry bodies,
Mhm.
but it's a pushrod V8
Wow.
under the hood, rear-wheel drive, which is
Wow.
everything a Camry isn't. So I thought that was interesting. I
That
knew
is
they
very
made a lot
interesting.
of horsepower. I did not know that they made 850 horsepower.
Well, that's amazing, but you've driven cars, haven't you? Did the Hellcat or something? What did you
Oh,
drive?
yeah. I
that
mean,
was
I've
like-
driven a 1,000 horsepower
Yeah.
Hellcat. I've driven a couple cars that are up above 850, and it's nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I can't imagine driving a car 850 horsepower on true slicks. I
Yeah,
drove the
yeah.
Hellcat at 1,000 horsepower. I mean, it was on sticky tires, but they were treaded tires. They were DOT approved tires.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine driving something with that much grip. And I was also actually watching a TikTok, I believe last night, of Travis Pastrana. Do you know Travis Pastrana? Rally car driver, motocross driver, or rider.
Yeah. Actually, I
Um,
do. I mean, I don't
He
know
used
much
to
about
be
him,
on
but
that show Nitro Circus way back in the day.
Oh, right. Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
He actually did some NASCAR racing.
Oh.
And he was talking about how when a car passes you, because those cars are so low and stuff, it actually pushes the car out about 3 degrees.
Really?
Yeah, and he was talking about how like he's like, you can only see forward because of the Hans device and the netting and everything. You can only see out your front windshield.
Huh.
You don't have mirrors. That's why you have a spotter on your radio.
You
He's
can't drink the macchiato like Gene
Oh,
Gerard did. Which
such
is awesome.
a funny scene.
This is awesome, yeah.
Such a great scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've mad respect for those NASCARs. I mean,
Yeah,
they're just
that's
crazy.
nuts. And to drive that fast in that kind of weird,
Yeah.
tiny little thing. I mean, it's bizarre because we talked about the F1 and how the little tiny cockpit of that, but to be in what seems like a car from the outside.
Right. It's
but
really a tube
really-
chassis.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is
amazing.
kind of funny, the fact that they've stuck with that for so long. I guess like stock car racing, it's the idea of it, but like
Yeah.
the passenger area, like
Yeah.
the shotgun seat of all those cars. I mean, like they have like fuel cells and they have
Right.
like honestly, a lot of them have like water systems for drinking during the race and
Do
things
they?
like that. Our Spec Miata has that.
Oh,
It has a
okay.
little. We fill it up with ice before the race.
Oh,
And like
okay.
a cool box, cool suits. Do you know about cool suits?
no.
So it's literally you in the car. There's a box that you fill with ice water,
Okay.
and the driver wears a special suit where there's literally, I'm trying to think of
Tubes?
water tubes that just carry cool water over the body of
Huh.
the driver, which it's insane. Tyler, who races Spec Miata,
Huh.
has a suit.
Yeah.
And we tap them in, and well, when it's going to be really hot, we tap them in and stuff,
yeah.
and it keeps them cool for the race, which is really, really
That's
cool.
nuts.
But there's systems like that. Of course, there is a fire suppression system in the car, so that does take up, the passenger space. But I just think it's always funny that like they like it's just an act these days of like, oh yeah, this is a stock car.
Yeah.
Not a single nut or bolt would go onto the
That's
the
not
stock car.
Nothing is stock. Yeah.
So now we're at an hour 6.
Okay,
Do you want to
sorry.
get into trivia?
Sure. Is
Do
that
you have
enough of the
any-
cars?
Yeah, those were all the cars
There's
that
not
were
many,
notable.
Not many cars.
He drove a Chevy Silverado at one point where he
Yeah.
backs into the groceries. Oh, and then he hits the cop.
Hits the cop, yeah.
And he delivers pizza to his dad, and he's like, "It's a nice Huffy you
That's
got
a
there."
nice, that's nice, Huffy. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do. I have to say, probably my favorite car of that whole movie is that Chevelle Malibu.
Yeah,
I mean,
great
really
car.
cool,
Yeah,
cool
really
car.
cool.
And I love how he drives blind and goes right into the side of a house.
Oh hell, Ricky, you don't drive with your eyes.
You drive with your
I
heart.
just love Will Ferrell's cadence in that scene where
Yes.
he's like, "This feels really dangerous." Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, because I know that
Yeah.
that was totally improv.
Yeah.
Like that just seems like Will Ferrell's sense of humor.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was, okay, you sit down and you say, in this scene, you two are doing this, and you banter back and forth. You're talking about, a couple of things, and
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. I mean, yeah, they have some, obviously they have lines and they have script stuff, but they do lots of takes when they do that unscripted stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, especially the movies that we've seen, there's a lot of stuff that's actually extemporaneous. They just it's off the cuff. So
Yeah. And that's what makes these movies so great. And
Yeah.
like, man, what I would pay to be on set those days
Oh,
and
gosh, yeah.
seeing all the alternates, all the
Yes.
alternate takes,
Yeah.
all the ideas, all of the times where I'm sure Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly were like, "Hey, let's try this, let's try that."
Yeah.
I'm sure Adam
Yeah.
McKay too. Very
Yeah,
funny. But yeah.
It would be hard not to laugh.
Oh yeah. 100%.
I mean, because I've done that where we shot stuff that was hilarious, and trying not to laugh during the scene
Yeah.
is really difficult to do. And then after, when someone when they say cut, it's like hilarious. It's just
But
it's
also,
so funny.
but the other thing is that it really helps out who's ever's on camera when they make the crew laugh.
Oh yeah.
Because like
yeah.
definitely like I've been reviewing cars with passengers and I'll say a joke in the video and it's annoying to cut around because that the passenger starts laughing.
Yes.
But it's so it's I don't even know, it feels good. It feels good
Sure.
when you get the
Yeah.
passenger to laugh. So I'm like, okay, I know this is funny and I'm not
Right.
just saying it into a camera and
Yes.
and people are thinking I'm weird.
Totally get it. Okay, trivia. Sorry.
Trivia. I know we are real sidetrack today.
Yeah. Okay.
And we can't even remember anything
No,
today. We can't
Can't
remember
remember
names,
words.
dates,
Can't remember nothing.
anything.
Who are you?
Yeah.
What is this?
I mean,
I
it
don't
is
know.
what it is. So, Number 1, brought to you by, but in no way sponsored by, IMDb. Take this with a grain of salt. Someone just probably added this at 3 a.m. Cal, Ricky, and Giard were all introduced during driver introductions at the 2005 UAW Ford 500 at Talladega. Ricky and Cal were cheered, but when Giard was introduced as a driver from France driving the Perrier car, Perrier car,
Okay.
the entire crowd started booing without prompting.
What?
So, like, at a real NASCAR event, they announced Ricky Bobby, Cal whatever Jr.,
Cal Jr., yeah.
Cal Jr., and Giard, and they actually booed him because he was from France. Like,
What?
without
Seriously?
prompting. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I mean, this is Alabama, Dad. I mean, like,
all right, okay.
I
All right, I
do
you.
want to eventually find a way to watch either a couple or a single Top Gear special.
Yeah.
The Top Gear special where they go to Alabama. I mean, you remember seeing this where they
do
start throwing rocks and
yes,
stuff.
I do remember seeing that.
It just reminded me of that. Alabama is rough and tumble, I tell you what.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep.
So next one, the producers pitched this movie to the studios in 6 words. Will Ferrell as a NASCAR driver. That's how the movie was pitched.
Wow.
And it was greenlit.
Wow.
Based off of 6 words.
Wow. That is.
I mean, if you think
that
about it, though,
floors me though. Yeah.
if someone said Will Ferrell as really anything back in the day, I'm like, all right, I'm in. You know?
Yeah. Will Ferrell as a dog doctor or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
sign me
hilarious.
up. Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Next one, Wonder Bread, Old Spice, and how do you say it? Perrier?
Perrier. Yes.
Were not charged for their product placement in the movie. Old Spice and Wonder Bread promoted the movie through back-end deals, while Perrier.
Yep. Perrier. I know it. Yeah.
Yeah. Perrier was not required to take any action despite its presence in the movie. In addition, Ferrell showed up to many public appearances in his Wonder Bread uniform at no additional charge to the company.
Wow.
Other product placements shown in the movie included Powerade, Coca-Cola, Domino's, Nextel, NASCAR, Valvoline, Budweiser, Lowe's, Ford, Sprint, Applebee's, Goodyear, and Fig Newton. I love the Fig Newton.
I do love the Fig Newton.
Scene.
I love the fact that he's so nonplussed about it. He's like, well, this is really dangerous.
This sticker is dangerous and inconvenient, but I sure do love Fig Newtons.
Exactly.
That's another thing that gets quoted all the time.
This sticker is dangerous
even, like,
and
recently, because, like, people put stickers on their windshields for, like, stuff. And I actually, back when I had the red RX-7, we had the whole build list. Everything we had to do to the red car was actually paint markered on my windshield so we wouldn't forget to do it.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I drove it to a car show without taking that off.
Oh.
And I was saying to everyone, I'm like, this build list is dangerous and inconvenient, but I sure do love my car. And I drove it, man. I drove that thing an hour and a half with a build list Sharpied down the front windshield.
That is funny, though.
Paint markered, but
that's pretty hilarious.
Great scene.
Mm-hmm.
Another trivia fact. The song in the film named Goodbye Cowboy was written and performed by Will Ferrell's father, Lee Ferrell.
What?
Yeah, so one of the songs in the movie was actually written and performed by Will Ferrell's dad, which is super cool.
That's super cool, yeah.
That would be really neat. The young woman who plays the artist during the brunch scene at Sacha Baron Cohen's house is actually an artist of that painting. She was commissioned to do the painting and was asked if she would play herself in the film painting the painting.
Oh, my gosh. That is crazy.
So they commissioned someone to do a painting, and then they're like, hey, do you want to be in the film doing the painting? And she was like, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That is really, really
I
cool.
like that.
That is really,
cool.
really neat.
And how cool is that for the artist to actually be able to do their own thing in there? Be in the movie and do their painting in the movie, which is really cool.
I love it when films do that, when they actually hire real people to do something in the... Because, like, anyone on set probably could have, like, waved a paintbrush. But it's like...
A lot of time to do,
If you want to be accurate, why not? Like,
yeah.
With the budget of, what, $70 million?
Yeah, that was a lot.
I think you can squeeze in...
$72.5 million.
I think you can squeeze in to get a real
I
painter,
would have done it for that $500,000. Just that $500,000.
That little half chunk?
That little half chunk million. I would have done it.
Oh, yeah, I would have done it in a heartbeat. Next up, the audio commentary on the DVD version is just one long improvision of largely false and silly observations.
Really?
So now I want to go back
Ah.
in the DVD and listen with the commentary.
Is there commentary in the one we have?
I
'Cause
don't
we have-
know.
we have like the dollar store
we have like
version
the
of
cut rate one.
the cut rate version.
Because it comes with the other guys and
it
Step
does.
Brothers.
It does, which are awesome movies.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Some of the big car crash stunts were done for real using explosive
Wow.
jacks that were later erased with computer graphics. The pipe and plate footing for the gags are shown falling away from the car in unprocessed scenes. So
Huh.
basically it was like a big air jacket under the
Sure.
car. It would pop up and flip
Yeah.
the cars.
Yeah.
But that's not
That's-
the only way they did the crashes. Which
But that's
is
a very
interesting.
common way. But go
yes,
ahead. Yeah.
that's like an old Hollywood way.
Well, it's
Of like you would get a guy named
Yes.
Jack to drive a 1940 Packard,
right.
at a
Right.
ramp, and then
Yeah.
he would just get out and hopefully he was okay.
Right.
Um,
By the way, I have to say, one of the funniest things I think I've seen in a movie in a long, long time was the fact of how long that crash was.
Oh, and they cut
to
away.
They cut to a commercial.
and I remember
It was great.
because that was a real Applebee's
Yeah,
commercial.
it was.
I remember back in the day thinking of like, did they actually just go
Right.
to a commercial
Right.
break?
Yeah.
And like now looking back, that's such like a 2000s commercial.
It
like
is.
the editing and
Yes.
stuff. It's
The
very
whole
like dated.
thing. Yeah, very dated.
But I remember distinctly back in the day, I was like, that's a real ad. Like
Yeah.
I just saw that on TV watching SpongeBob
yeah,
the other day.
right. And it's so funny because then
Oh,
they
yeah.
cut back and
Let's
it's
cut
still
to a commercial break. Yeah, and then
and
it's
they
like the Applebee's. Yeah.
and it was only
so
like a
funny.
10-second commercial, but then it cuts back and they're still in the accident.
Yeah.
Spoiler alerts, by the way.
Oh yeah.
We didn't even
Sorry. Jeez. Spoiler alerts.
Anyway, go ahead.
Based on the leak patches on the drivers' uniforms, it is implied that the first part of the movie takes place in 2003 and the latter in 2004. This comes from the drivers wearing the Winston Cup emblems, which was the last used in 2003 before Nextel took over the Cup's sponsorship in 2004.
Ah, okay.
So just for you NASCAR fans out there,
Yep.
some little minor stuff.
Yep.
But getting back to the crashes, this is our second to last trivia fact.
Mhm.
There's about a half second of footage that reveals 12-inch to 18-inch radio control cars were used on a large set to film some of the footage, most likely nighttime footage. So some of the nighttime racing
Really?
footage was actually RC cars in the distance.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, though. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, like coordinating cars like that, the insurance that has
Yeah.
to go into stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like we mentioned with your favorite movie, Rush, a lot of the surrounding cars are other rival racers.
I expect to get that for Christmas. By the way,
Oh,
as a gift, is
jeez.
the DVD collection set
Yeah,
of
I'm
Rush.
definitely not spending my
Yeah.
money on that.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of the cars in that movie, though, were actual vintage race cars, and for insurance purposes, those were driven by
Okay.
the owners who had
Yes.
collected or curated them.
Yeah, I mean,
which was
and
pretty cool.
again, the footage was awesome. I mean, they had some really cool shots
Oh,
of
yeah.
racing and all that stuff. But yeah,
Last one I have written down here. The scene where Ricky and Gene run on foot to finish was actually filmed prior to the driver intros at the 2005 Food World 300 ARCA series race.
okay, so it was actually a race. It was right before a
Right,
race.
so this was filmed in front of a live
wow,
crowd.
that's bizarre.
Right.
That is
and
bizarre.
the cameras were set up at specific angles so they wouldn't capture the cars lined up on pit road. So like they were like getting ready to actually race,
Yeah,
and there was just a little film crew filming this scene at the.
that must have been weird. For
Yeah,
the
I wonder if
people
they like
there.
describe. I mean, it must have been cool, like because like they do driver intros and they're like in the number 5 car.
Right? Yeah.
So it was right before that. They actually filmed at a real NASCAR race,
Wow.
which
Wow.
I wonder how long it took them to film it. If they were out there like all day, not like all day,
Yeah.
but like for like hours, or if they were like, like when we filmed as kids, like running gun, like boom, do the thing, do the thing, do the thing. And then I assume the kiss was probably filmed in the infield or something, so the sky was the same.
Oh
but like,
yeah.
you know, whatever.
Yeah, which was it's funny, but the kiss is painfully long.
Yeah.
I just it's so especially for those two actors.
Yeah.
Must have been bizarre to do that.
Sacha Baron Cohen he commits though.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if there's anyone in the comedy world that commits to a joke harder than him, just based off of the Borat series, where he actually went out in public and like almost got beat up like a lot, committing to the jokes.
Wow.
Which is pretty funny. So that's all I have for trivia. That's all I have written down. As we're kind of coming to our time here.
Yeah, we are. It's unbelievable again.
We're trying to stick to an hour 30. That I feel like
about an hour,
I feel like that's a fair amount where we're not blabbering on for too long, but it's not,
It's true. I mean, there's so much you could say about this movie.
I mean, we could literally quote the entire movie back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
Which ends up happening with most of my friend groups.
Yeah, really. And it's and there's, like I say, or like you said too, every single time I watch the movie, I catch something that I didn't catch before. Like the different things that John C. Reilly says about Jesus. I like to picture Jesus as an interpretive dancer, dancing my life, or or a figure skater or something like that.
I mean, so many
little tiny baby Jesus.
Yeah, 8 pounds, 6 ounce. He was a man too.
He was a man.
Jesus was a man.
I like to picture
when you say grace, you can do the man Jesus. You can do the teenage Jesus. I like the I like how he says I like the Christmas one.
Yeah, the Christmas one, the baby Jesus.
I mean, there's just so many things to quote. I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew, or I'm a spider kick you, like
or
the
spider.
kids
I'm gonna come at you like a spider monkey.
Or when the dad comes back, like he comes to the house,
yeah,
and he's yelling at or he's like, I don't think these are my grandkids.
Yeah,
and he starts yelling at the neighbor, and then like the kid yells like, "Shave your balls, old man."
Right.
He's like, I guess he is my grandson.
I guess he is it.
Which is so many little things.
Well, and it's great too because was so nice that how do I explain it? When the kids know that they're facing their grandmother, and they're like, "You're gonna beat us down, or you're gonna wear us down like two people." I can't remember what.
Yeah.
It's funny. I never heard this before, but when they're on the side of the road and she's making them pick up trash on the side of the road.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, "Grandma, how long you going to make us do this?" And she goes, "I don't know. How many times you going to throw the radio at me plugged in when I'm taking a bath?" Yeah, it's just funny.
So great.
All
that
that
stuff. So many quotable.
You pick up those little things.
The Colombian.
The Colombian Bam Bam.
Yeah. What are you saying? There's 10 kilos of Colombian Bam Bam under the car. That was a fun scene too.
It was fun. It was
the cougar in the car, and the cougar's name is Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Settle down, Karen.
Settle down.
The driving instructor.
Which is a great thing, obviously, to take that character through the whole thing, because the first time, and he had what shirt did he have? It was like
I forget.
He had a shirt. Oh gosh, it was his his favorite shirt got ripped up by the cougar. So anyway, pretty funny, but all this stuff. I mean, like every single
so
scene.
Much. We could go on for hours.
Yeah.
Would you change the channel?
Gosh, no.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I would probably even sit down and watch it.
Yeah. I think depending on the scene, I would probably sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
100%. I love this movie so much.
There's
I think it's literally a 10 out of 10 movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything I'd change.
I mean, would you change the channel? For me, no. For you, no.
Yeah.
And again, I would probably actually sit down and watch. Yeah, depending on where it was in the movie, but I'd probably sit down and watch it just because it's fun and it just a very. You do not have to think about anything.
Yeah. It's just fun laughs. There's something we even totally skipped over, the knife scene, the knife in the leg.
Yes, the knife in the leg.
Where he's playing wheelchair basketball, and they're like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Or the scene that I totally forgot about is the wife is like, I'm ready to pull the plug. And they're like, he's fine.
He's fine.
He's
taking a nap. I've never seen him like this, and he's snoring.
Yeah. She's like, I've thought a lot about it. I'm heartbroken. I'm ready to pull the plug. And
he's like, there's nothing wrong with
the knife in the leg.
And the fact that he buys a van, a whole conversion van with
like about $100,000 wheelchair
it's already
accessible.
paid for.
Yeah.
It's already paid for. Already paid for it. It's like, oh, man.
He just found that wheelchair in the hallway.
Exactly.
He's playing the wheelchair basketball.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh my gosh!
So,
I mean, every single part of the movie. But yeah, that's Talladega Nights. Are you ready to hear about the next movie? because this
yes,
is my pick
you know
this
what?
time.
I'm excited.
It's a little offbeat from what we normally do.
okay.
Now,
all right.
honorable mention. This is not what we're
Okay,
watching,
all right.
but Amazon Prime just added Sky Captain World of Tomorrow,
Really?
and I started watching it.
Did
and
you?
Boy,
Did you?
is it bad!
Oh, you didn't like it?
It's so
Okay.
bad.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
First
it is
of all,
bizarre.
as I said earlier,
Yeah.
film noir
Yes.
is just
You
shitty
hate
filmmaking.
that. You hate that.
I
you
hate
absolutely
film noir.
hate film
It's so
noir.
stupid. We have color. We have color. We have it. I don't know if anyone has told them that yet, but we have color.
Oh my gosh, you hate film noir.
Well, here's the other thing: is that this
All
is
right,
like
next movie I choose is going to be film noir.
it better not. If you could find a car film noir, by all means.
I can't. So don't worry.
But sorry, it's quick tangent for Sky Captain World of Tomorrow. I got like halfway through it. First of all, Gwyneth Paltrow's in it.
Yes, that's right. I forgot. Yeah.
But it's
And Judd Law, right? Jude Law.
Jude Law, yeah.
Jude Law. Judd. I was calling
So-
Judd.
So
Sorry.
heavily edited.
Shout out to Judd Law. Jude Law.
Yeah, Judd Law's. That's his brother. It's his cousin, Judd Law. Yeah.
In Alabama.
He's a linebacker. He's a linebacker, Judd Law.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
Judd Law.
so
No,
Gwyneth Paltrow's in it.
it's
and
so
it's
edited. Like, it's
So, yeah.
so obviously edited.
Yeah.
Like, visual effects are always the best when you don't notice them.
Yeah, but 90% of that was green screen.
That
and
entire
stuff, yeah.
movie, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
Like
this
crazy.
is just green screen.
Yeah.
I'm like, none of this actually exists.
No.
The robots, that's as far as I got. The robots walking through New York,
Okay.
which they look like, I mean, what was that music video in the 80s that was all like hand drawn and weird?
Oh no, that was
Or,
Money for Nothing. That
Money
was Dire Straits.
It
was
looks
one of
like the
first,
Money for
but it
Nothing
was the
music
first,
video.
Come on, that was the first 3D animation.
Yeah, that's great for the
movie.
80s. Sky Captain World of Tomorrow was like 2005 or 4. I might try
don't
to
diss the
finish.
80s,
I don't know.
man.
It's also like oddly like unsettling, the whole movie.
I didn't
Although
make it through.
Dumbledore, I
I
think,
didn't
is
make
in
it
it.
Dumbledore is in
Well,
it.
not as Dumbledore, but the guy who played Dumbledore.
You're a wizard, Harry.
They're like,
I
this
can't
is-
do. You're
Yeah.
a wizard.
Yeah, don't try again. It's just bad, and
I can't do
that's
it.
speaking ill of the dead. So,
Right. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Ian McKellen? No, that's not Ian
Ian
McKellen.
No.
Is it Ian McKellen?
It might be.
I don't remember. We're sundowning.
Oh,
hard
Dumbledore.
today. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the other guy. Who's the other guy that is like the
Snape?
Hagrid?
Hagrid.
That's like he's not gone.
What? The guy who played Snape is dead.
Yes.
Yeah, sadly.
That's sad
Which,
because he
what
was an awesome
what was his
actor.
name?
Uh,
Jeez, we're just forgetting
he
names.
was. I can't remember my
yeah,
own
he was
name.
a great actor. Played a Bond villain, no?
No, he did not play a Bond villain ever, but awesome actor, and he played Snape, and he was.
I gotta know.
So
Yeah, vamp for me, please.
I will definitely do that. So shout out to
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman.
He
That's it.
100%
Yeah.
was a Bond villain. He had to have been.
No, he wasn't. He
No,
wasn't.
he was Hans Gruber in
Yes,
Die
Hans
Hard.
Gruber,
Okay.
yeah.
He played a
He plays.
You
a
know
bad
what?
guy. Yeah.
You know what? I'm
What?
going to draw parallels between Die Hard
No,
and
you cannot. No, do
007
not do
since you
that.
want to draw parallels so
No,
much.
no. Rush was definitely. They
yeah.
stole Talladega Nights.
I saw a very depressing video about Alan Rickman the other day that just
Yep.
ruined me.
Really?
Yeah, well, in an interview, someone was like, "Do you like dogs?" He's
Yeah.
like, "I love dogs, but I can't have one because I'm an actor, and that would just be too hard on a dog being gone all the time. But I hope to own one day in retirement." And he passed away before he retired.
Ah.
And someone was like, "This ruined my week. The fact that Alan
Ugh.
Rickman never got a dog."
Yeah, I mean, he actually. I read an article about him.
Yeah.
People said he was the nicest
Yeah.
guy, that he was so sweet and nice and wonderful, and played wonderfully terrible characters, wonderfully bad
Yeah.
guys. I mean, he was
I
good
always
at
looked
being
at
bad.
Snape as just being a total a-hole.
Yes, but he was really good
yeah.
at it, and he was very nice to his co-actors and people on the set, and they said he was wonderful to work with. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
the next movie.
Okay.
It's a little off tangent.
It's
from
not
what we
Sky
normally-
Captain.
No, it's not Sky Captain World
Okay.
of Tomorrow.
All right.
Initial D.
Oh, Initial D.
So it's our
Okay.
first foreign film.
Yeah.
It is all subtitled. It is not in English. Yeah. It's not in English, and actually, from what I found out, I believe it's actually a Chinese film, although it takes place in Japan.
Yeah.
So Mount Akagi, of course. All this stuff. So let me give a brief introduction and Initial D for you.
All right.
This is the real, not real. What's the word? Live action. That's the word I'm looking for. It's the live action version of Initial D.
It is.
So
it's
Initial
not
D
a cartoon?
no. So Initial D was a cartoon in the 90s that basically the Fast and the Furious and Initial D are the two main feeding sources for automotive enthusiasts.
Really? Okay.
You're a Fast and Furious fan, you're an Initial D fan. That's like pretty much what it is. Those are like the top two.
Gotcha.
But we're talking about the Initial D cartoon. Ran for, I think, 5 seasons. Very accurate when it came to cars.
Okay.
All
right.
And all this stuff. But
now,
this is the live action version, adaptation.
Where is this on? What is
Netflix.
This on? It's on Netflix?
It is on Netflix.
Because I've looked it up before, and I've never seen it.
It comes on, it comes off, it comes on. It's on right now. It's on right now.
So I'm going to have to hurry up and watch it.
Which it is. It's changing to May tomorrow, so we might.
Yeah, that's right.
If it's fine. If we can't find it, we'll rent it somewhere. I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's
if you don't know. Oh, tomorrow's our first launch, right?
Yeah. So actually, tomorrow our first episode, Blues Brothers, comes out. So we filmed all of these episodes up until now before even releasing a single episode. Yeah. So we don't even know if this is going to be popular or not. So
we don't know if we're going to be picked up next season for another series. Yeah. Another season.
But Initial D.
Okay. All right.
I love the cars in this movie. Obviously.
Yeah.
We have like the Toyota 86 Corolla from the 80s. Popping headlights.
Yeah.
There is the Rotary Brothers, so the FC and the FD RX-7.
Really?
Of which I've driven both in the exact colors.
Wow.
The yellow is the CYM yellow. My friend, Colton, Jesus.
Wow.
My friend,
can't remember any names
nothing.
Nothing.
Colton actually has both the yellow FD and the white FC in real life.
Wow.
I've driven both of them. I've also driven the white FC in its natural state in the movie, which is right-hand drive turbo. I've driven a white right-hand drive turbo with the same stickers and wheels found in the TV show. My other friend is actually Steve, is a very big Initial D fan and actually built the car from the show.
Did he?
Yeah. Like part for part, even down to bumpers and wheels, which is great.
Wow.
Tons of cool cars. R32 Skylines in this movie. And what I want you to pay attention to is the camera angles while racing.
Okay. All right.
There's a very interesting camera angle that they do that I have no idea how they got it. The car is driving, and it's like an up close. The camera is somehow attached to the car. Yeah. Because the car is stationary, but its drive. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Basically, it looks like they bolted a tripod to the car up in like a corner.
Okay.
It's very weird. It's a very interesting way of capturing an anime angle in real life.
But it's not anime.
No, this is real life.
Okay.
So that is the one thing people kind of look down on this movie a little bit. Because the anime, it's basically like book readers who are like, oh, you got to read the book, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, the Hunger Games book is way better than the movie. Well, it's like, I had to do less work watching the movie. And like the movie does try to condense like half of the first season into one movie.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested to see how you like it. Like I said, it is our first subtitled movie. It's our first foreign film.
Yes, that will be very interesting. I watched when I was back in college, and I was in film class.
Yeah.
Seven Samurai.
Okay.
So I got very used to watching, looking at subtitles and watching the movie. And actually, unbelievably awesome movie, The Seven Samurai.
Oh,
unbelievably awesome. Just a tremendous. For a movie to span, just cultures. Is an amazing thing for that to do. It's just Seven Samurai, so cool.
Yeah, I traditionally do not like subtitled movies.
Me too, but
because I'm a slow reader.
Me too.
That's the reason. And then I feel like my eyes are only on the lower third of the movie, and I feel like I miss everything.
Yeah.
Although there is a lot of car stuff in this movie, obviously, so there's not a whole lot of dialogue, which makes it a lot
easier.
Does it say
screech?
No, thank God.
Right.
Although, like, this is the subtitled movie, I haven't turned on Netflix's own subtitles.
Oh.
So maybe that might differ.
That might, I don't know.
But
I'm gonna get the Google Reader
oh
just to read
god,
it as it goes.
God. Or remember, we knew someone who in the theater next to us was reading the subtitles out loud,
Yes.
watching a movie.
Yes. Yes.
Man,
Yes.
I was telling someone that story the other
That
day,
is hilarious.
and it was just like, man,
If you hear me in the basement or wherever we do the podcast
yeah.
reading out the
If I ever go to a movie and someone's reading the subtitles to someone else, that person should not be at the movie. And the person who was getting read the subtitles when we were there should not have been at the movie,
Right.
because they barely even knew English at all.
That is true. Yes, that actually.
So
was true.
I'm
that actually
sure
did
the
happen to us.
subtitle-
I remember
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, Initial D is the next movie.
Great.
Super
It's
excited
gonna
for
be
this
great.
one.
Yeah.
Because the RX-7s get a lot of screen time in this one, so
Cool.
super hyped over that. And
Yeah.
having driven 90% of the cars featured in this movie, I'm super hyped.
As long as it's not Rush, I'm all for it.
I'll be curious if you like this one better than Rush or not.
Okay.
I assume you will, because you hate Rush so much, but I
yeah.
feel like a foreign film is always an iffy bet.
No, I'm sure I'm gonna like it because I don't know.
Yeah. Just remember that the white and yellow cars are RX-7s. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So thank you guys so much for listening
Yes,
to
thanks.
the Unnamed Movie Car Podcast, Talladega Nights. Next up will be the Initial D movie, episode 16 already. Episode 16, that's crazy. But thank you so much for listening.
All right, take it easy.